guys, it is April from Getting Hookah With It. Today I wanted to talk to you about The Deep. I'm going to be doing a review here. We read this book for my August selection of the Dying to Read book club. It's over on Goodreads and you can join us over there. I'll throw the link in the description box below. But yeah, I wanted to dive into what I thought about The Deep. So I'm going to start off with just saying straight up what I gave The Deep. I gave this book a 3-star. I liked some of it, and I didn't like a lot of it. So if you don't know what The Deep is about, The Deep is a book about this strange plague that's kind of taking over humanity, and it's called the Gets. And it's called the Gets because people are forgetting things. At first they're forgetting things like where they put their keys, then they forget things like how to move their body. So it gets progressively worse and there's absolutely no cure. However, there are scientists really trying to find a cure, and they've found this substance at the bottom of the ocean called ambrosia. And they're really hoping that this ambrosia will be able to help them with, coming up with a cure for the Gets. So there is a research lab underwater in the deep, and there are scientists there working on ambrosia to try and find out more information on it, and that research lab kind of goes dead. Like, no one can contact them and everything is silent. You can't call them. There's no communication at all. So there are 2 people that decide to go down and explore what is happening to this research lab. I want to start with what I liked about this book. So first up, the Gets itself. Just the concept of the Gets. The concept of losing your family or yourself to forgetting and watching someone deteriorate would be so horrifying. And can you imagine seeing that on a mass scale? It would just be chaos to the world. And the Gets was really interestingly depicted in this book. I really enjoyed that. It was very short. I wish there was a lot more of the Gets. That was something that I kind of missed. But what he did give us about the Gets was so fascinating. I also found it super fascinating that no other animals are affected by the Gets. So, dogs aren't affected by it, cows, nothing except for bees. And that was a really interesting little twist. The collapse that we are seeing now with bees, which is very disturbing, and researchers are still trying to find out what in the world specifically is happening to bees. So Nick Cutter's theory is that it's the Gets, and that was so interesting, and it cut a little close to home when you read something like that. So I enjoyed that. I also enjoyed the part where they get down to the lab. When the 2 people who go in to see what in the world is happening with this lab, why isn't anybody responding to them, when they go down into the lab, that felt so isolating. It really felt like this dark dungeon area that had all of these tunnels and weird little nooks and crannies, and you didn't know what was lurking around the bend, and that was so interesting, and I enjoyed the atmospheric aspect to that for sure. Moreover, when you're down there, a lot of people, while they're down in the lab, they have these very, very vivid dreams, and those dream sequences were horrifying to me. One dream in particular that our main character has is like a kind of a mix between a flashback and a dream of him as a child going down to the basement, and there is something lurking in the basement, and that was actually the only part of the book that scared me, but it really did scare me. That creeped me out so much. I really enjoyed all of the dream sequences. I thought they were honestly the scariest part of the whole book, if you're asking me. I also thought the ambrosia itself was fascinating. There's this interesting, like, parasitic kind of relationship that Ambrosia has with the creatures that it touches. I thought it was really cool that that was kind of inspired by nature, because there are animals that are completely parasitic, and many of those are in the ocean. So I really liked the inspiration that he took from animals. I enjoyed that very, very much. That said, that's as far as I enjoyed the animal scenes in this book. I'm a complete animal lover, and this is filled with animal brutality. I know The Troop, which is also by Nick Cutter, is apparently so much worse in terms of animal torture and that kind of thing, and I don't really want to read it anytime soon. I've got it on my shelves, but I think I'm gonna have to wait a year or two to read that. I also really struggled with the disjointedness between what is going on in the lab, which is 90 to 95% of this book, and what I really wanted was to get back up to Earth, really, to find out what's going on with the Gets and find out the link between those two. And it felt incredibly disjointed, so I was disappointed in that. I really wanted more of that link. The other thing that I struggled with was the writing, which I think would be very surprising to a lot of people. A lot of people seem to enjoy the writing of this book. I struggled immensely with the dialogue. To me, the dialogue was a lot of finishing each other's sentences. I don't know if you've ever watched something like Criminal Minds, where they're all standing around a body and they're diagnosing what's happened to this body in turns, where one person's like, I think she was hit by a car, and then the other one's like, yes, and you can see the front lobe of her brain is, and they take turns, and I just hate that. I hate that in TV shows. As soon as I start seeing that, I just click off. Like that, I found like Criminal Minds is like that, Grey's Anatomy is like that, and I can't stand that at all. I find it annoying beyond belief, and that is riddled throughout The Deep. So if you don't like that as well, you're not going to enjoy the dialogue, at least, of The Deep. Would I read another Nick Cutter? Yes, but in several years. I'm also going to be taking this off of my shelves because I only gave it 3 stars. My rule is if it's 3 stars or below, it goes off of my shelf. So I'm going to be donating this to my library, but I do think that it was good for me to read this. I now know that I'm not a huge fan of body horror and animal torture in my books, so I'll try to avoid it where I can. I feel like this really took me out of my comfort zone, and I think it took a lot of people out of their comfort zones over on the Goodreads book club, which was good. It's definitely a love it or hate it kind of book, I think. So I hope that this helps you if you are about to pick up The Deep. I hope I don't put you off of reading it. I did give it 3 stars because there were things in here that I really did enjoy. But there's just a lot of glaring like red flags if you don't like certain kinds of topics. So I hope that this finds you well, and definitely come on over and join the Goodreads group. I'm going to be announcing our September book very, very soon on this channel, so keep your eyes peeled for that, and I'll see you soon. Okay, bye!